Hey everyone, this is Johanna from Stitchcraft and Johanna Creates, and I would like to welcome you to my very first video solo that has nothing to do with my shop or anything that I do in my store. I am the owner of Stitchcraft, which is a retail shop in Florida that specializes in fabric, sewing, quilting, and other types of stitchery. And I am around people every day, all day, 6 days a week, and I'm a big cheerleader for all of the people that I come in contact with. I love what I do. I love meeting all the creative people that come into my store, that sell me fabric, that inspire me, that teach me. When I travel, I get to meet the coolest, most creative people, and that's just my passion. But I have been thinking in recent years, really, that there's something else. I have more to share. And I've been trying to identify exactly what that was. What do I have to share? What is really driving me in all of this? And I realized that the idea of creativity as a whole is really what's very important to me. And that's really what I want to share. And that's what I'd like to be able to foster in everyone. And when I say creativity, a lot of people are thinking crafting. And of course, because that's the business I'm in and I'm around crafting all the time, everybody's thinking, well, I don't do that. Well, crafting is a type of creativity, but creativity does not have to be a craft. Creativity is really a sense of being. So there are a lot of different types of creative hobby, but you don't have to have something that makes something tangible to be creative. You can be interested in nature, like to going to museums. Here's an example. So I was a speaker at a women's luncheon a few years ago, and it was not affiliated with any specific craft. But the topic was crafting. And I went and I asked everybody, because I'm sure there were people who were kind of rolling their eyes and thinking, ugh, why do I have to be listening to her? But I said to everybody, how many of you consider yourself or don't consider yourself creative? And a lot of people raised their hand. And then I asked, of those of you that don't consider yourself creative, how many of you cook or bake? And almost all of them kept their hand up. And I said, that is a form of creativity. You can be creative in the kitchen, how you put food together, how you use spices, how you plate, how you set a table. There's a lot of other ways to be creative, and that's really what I want to focus about. So I decided, with the help of other people who know me, to do some videos on creativity and different aspects of creativity and how it can benefit you, benefit your life, benefit everybody around you. I can go on and on. I have a whole list of topics that I want to talk about and want to share. I really believe that everybody needs some type of creativity, and I also believe that everybody needs some type of hobby, and we'll talk about that. I think they kind of go hand in hand, and we'll talk about that in another video. But I do want to share why I want to do this. I've been creating and creative since I was old enough to hold a crayon, and I was always crafting and making things. And every memory I have that's really good growing up has to do with some type of creativity. When I was a teenager, and this is one of the big things when I think about, being a teenager, especially a girl, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of changes going on in our life. And my time that I think back as a teenager that was relaxing and soothing to me when I would sit on the floor in my bedroom and I would cut up magazines, and I would cut words, and I would cut images, and then I would take Elmer's glue or glue sticks and just cover a big poster board and make these giant posters with the images and the words that I cut out, giant collages. I would always be doing them. I had so many of them. I would also cover cardboard boxes that gifts came in, and I actually have one around here somewhere in this mess. I kept it with some of my teenage mementos, but it's a treasure. And it wasn't necessarily the end product, but it was sitting there relaxing and cutting. I remember having words that would have to do with boys or makeup or fashion or friendship, all of those things that have anxiety provoking, or we're unsure because we're growing, but or things that inspired me, fashion and whatever it was. But I just remember vividly that this was something that I just loved to do, because at the end of a busy day, or I have some free time, maybe I was supposed to be doing homework, but I needed some downtime. I needed downtime up here just to process what was going on in my life. And so I just did that with scissors and a magazine and a glue stick. And I loved that. I don't know whatever happened to all of those posters. I didn't have an end game as to what I was going to do with them. I just remember that it was a relaxing thing to do, to just be able to process. And I really believe that everybody needs some type of outlet at all stages. When we're younger, we're all encouraged to make things, and we have it in school. And then if you think about it, as we get older, it goes away. And then by the time we're adults, we all say we're too busy. Or I had a woman come into my store, and pardon me if I tell stories, but I just tend to tell stories. I had a woman come in, and she was crocheting, and she wanted something to do with her 8-year-old daughter, and they were all excited. And she was saying that her husband was making fun of her because it made her look like an old lady. And I felt so sad, because she was such a pretty, 30-something who was, had a daughter, and they were going to do something fun, and her husband had to go and, squash it. And I don't like that. So I want everybody to find something that will nurture their creativity. And that's something, I have a whole list, frankly, of things that I want to talk about. So I walk around and I have these journals that I've kept for a long time, my creative journals, and they are just chock filled. Whenever I have ideas, designs or anything, I write them down. So I will refer to them a lot, and I have a lot to share. I have so many ideas, and I want to bring you all along. So if you have anything regarding creativity that you would like to talk about or share, if there is something that you do that you really think is important, I've never done any official research, although I know it's been done. I have always wondered, how would I ever do some type of survey to see, what is a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 35-year-old, what is their definition of creativity? What do you ask them if they have a hobby? I'm sure a 5-year-old and 10-year-old versus a 25 or 30-year-old or a 50-year-old is going to have different answers, and a lot of it's probably we become fearful, or we care too much about what other people think of what we're doing, or we don't have time. And these are all things I want to talk about. So share your thoughts. I'm going to be putting some of these up on YouTube, and hopefully this will be a good platform for me. I've been listening to podcasts and watching videos and reading blogs, and I was trying to decide exactly what platform, what way I was going to go out and kind of spread my message. I do it every day in my shop, where I'm, a big cheerleader telling everybody that they can do it. And I open boxes live on Facebook so I can get a little more comfortable in front of the camera. So hopefully this is going to work. Hopefully I'll figure out how to do the video and the editing, and of course the posting. So thank you so much for watching this very first video about creativity, and I thank you. So make time to create. Have a wonderful day.